All right, all right, all right. Hello, hello. Welcome. Greetings, salutations. Everything seems to be working. No problems thus far. I'm digging it. Couple rough few streams figuring out the technology again. Figuring out why my microphone was not working and why my stream was not working and my notifications were not working. But we are back into our second week since I've come back streaming. And we're hitting it pretty hard. We have a completed high-grade Sananju Stein with... Yeah, autofocus is off. I forgot. With all the water slides added on. Oh, God, that one on the shield looks like it's breaking off. That's ugly. Anyway, so normally it's just a robot is the vessel for which the pilot rides. However, in this case, there's a pilot inside this, and this guy himself has an entire suit of armor, which is this enormous mess right here. And it actually has so much crap that it spills onto the floor. I have probably 30% from what you can see on this table, another 30% down on the floor. So 3/4 up here, another quarter down on the floor. And we're going to build a suit for this guy. Let's take a better look at him from our overhead view when we switch over. So, as I said, this is a high grade. I'm pretty impressed with the fact that this came with water slides. They're just small details like the number up on the shoulder or a couple of the warning stickers around the legs and stuff. They don't add too much, but they add just enough like pop and color variation to an otherwise kind of plain kit that this was the sticker that, or the water slide that was coming off a little bit. It was wrinkled when it dried. Just enough pop to make it kind of stand out. I like it. I don't like how so many of the Verka kits come with endless amounts of water slides. Because maybe it's a personal thing, I feel compelled to put them all on if they're going to give me a lot of water slides. And it takes hours and hours and hours to do it all. Right now, I'm just touching up a few of the water slides that were kind of wrinkled. The slides themselves, the paper's pretty wrinkled. You can kind of see all the creases and stuff. And some of the smaller stickers were like riding a crease. So this is Mark Fit. It's called Mark Set or Fitter or Setter. I've heard it all kind. It really depends on the brand. So what this is, it's mostly like a alcohol based. It's almost like a stain remover type stuff. Like it's almost identical to the Gundam marker ink remover, but it's enough to soften the water slides. If you put a little bit on there, it gets them to lay down flat. And so they adhere better. It's more advantageous on curved surfaces or surfaces where there's like detail behind it. Like if there's a groove and you're laying that over it, it'll kind of soften the water slide up into... I don't really know how to describe the consistency, but almost like wet tissue paper. Like it's very fragile, but it'll kind of sink into the details and the ridges and everything, and then it'll dry, and it looks much better at the end of the application. There are a few areas where they didn't set flat, so I'm just putting some on now to help re-adhere, like to wet the glue so it starts flowing again, gets a better bonding, and kind of lays flat instead of the wrinkle. Shouldn't be much of a problem. I'm going to top coat the whole thing, which should lock in the details, or the decals on the skin later. But overall, I am pleased with this. It's about 8 hours to get this far. Enough detail on there to make it... it does not look like a high grade. I think that's at the end of the day what I really like about this kit. It looks more like a real grade with so much surface detail, with the water slides, with the paneling, with the not so much color separation, but that allowed us to do color separation. I'm kind of impressed with this. So, which is good because I kind of thought I don't know if this I wanted to kind of hurry this kit because it's not so much about building this; it's about building all this. But I didn't want to like do a rush job and end up with a crappy little model in the middle of it. So I also built up a couple of the beam rifles, which I guess the autofocus is here and it's not focusing on that. We'll fix that once he's gone. Built up a couple of the beam rifles because this thing is so big it actually has like a hanger module where like the armor panels pop off and all these other weapons like attach onto it, and I thought that's too cool. I want to put those on there. So these are very simple. It's essentially the beam rifle from the Senanju. There's a grenade launcher that usually fits on here, which can get locked in here. It's attached onto the shield right now, but I just wanted to go with these basic weapons, so if I ever decided I wanted to change the pose or do something with it, they would be like in the hanger portion of the mobile armor, so we had everything in there. The beam sabers are stored in his forearms. The beam rifles are stored kind of like behind the breastplate armor of the Neo Zeong. And now we're going to move him to the side. Not too far. We'll just move him. He can supervise the construction of the rest of his kit. Move him over there. I will get a better focus. All right. Come on. Wake up. There we go. So now, as you can see, the guy that we just built is just this tiny little dude in here. Now we got to build all this. And truth be told, I don't know how to organize... Oh, my color, my lighting dipped. What happened to my lighting? Is that... What happened to the lighting? Let me... Alright. Oh, I guess it's like auto f-stopping and letting different amounts of light through based on how much... Oh, okay. So I guess the f-stop's set on automatic because when you're getting the reflection of the white in there, it cuts away. If I remove it, it brightens back up. I'll have to figure out how to turn that auto f-stop off. Anyway, for now we're okay. Because I'll move this slightly out of the way. I did not know how to organize any of this stuff. There is such a mountain of crap here. Right now, it seems to be whole letters, and then once they ran past all the alphabet and they got to Z and had to continue, they went to like WA, WB. All the W parts I have on the floor next to me. For now, it's kind of like whole letters and then W letters. I was going to start kind of organizing them by color, but I think I'm just going to look for the color in the beginning once we figure out what parts we need and then kind of organize on the fly maybe. I have no idea. This is going to be a challenge. It's going to be the first time I'm trying to experience it, but I'm ready for the challenge, and let's get to it, I guess. So the first piece that we're going to need looks to be this T-section. Looks to just be gigantic shoulder support and then center support, almost like a clothesline that looks like this is going to form the center support, almost like a load-bearing wall of your house that keeps the rest of the roof from falling down. This looks like it's going to be the load-bearing portion of this model kit that transfers all the weight of how heavy it is into the center, down into the action base. Because I even saw later on there's like screws that we have to screw things together to get a good solid fit point, just because of the amount of weight that's actually in this kit. So I did see this part. It looks like these two parts were part J right from the very beginning. And I I guess we just go. We'll just start building. It's going to be a little clumsy because I'm going to have to dig through this pile a lot of times. But for now, let's go. This doesn't even look like a runner because it looks like this T and this T. I mean, this runner is just here to support it, but it looks like there's so much extra plastic that we're not going to end up using. So we've got one T. We've got the second T. Now, yeah, all this plastic. What a mess. Kind of cool though. I've never seen a kit like this that has just massive parts with a few connections on it that almost doesn't have a runner. Saw some Black Friday deals on some model kits, and the only Black Friday deals that I pulled the trigger on were some Gundam kits. I picked up high-grade Gundam Maxter and a high-grade G-Line grunt suit. But otherwise, I didn't do any Black Friday shopping. Because everybody that I was shopping for, mostly family, said, don't buy me stuff. So I got to skip out. Now these are parts, but I don't know when we use these. When do we use these? Oh well, I will just throw them aside for now. I'll put them into the, because I don't even know, it doesn't even say that they're J. I'll just have to remember. They're down there. All this extra plastic can go right into the trash. And now, clean up the nubs. Ooh, hang on. Got some alerts on my phone that are coming through my desktop. Make those go away. Quit. Now these, I assume we don't have to do that good of a job because this is all like structural parts that's hidden deep inside. But I don't want to get in the habit of just saying, oh, I don't need to clean that up. I wonder how much support this adds. It does feel weird to have this encased in the very middle, because these things seem like they're so much stronger, but maybe just add some center rigidity. Maybe there's actually so much weight that these hollow parts start moving around a little bit. Maybe this just kind of locks up the center structure to help bring the weight down or transfer the weight down. I think I said it on some other stream, but this reminds me of like old G.I. Joe toys, how it's like big, solid pieces of plastic that are all hollow, because that's how a lot of the old G.I. Joe toys were. Looked cool, but it was just hollow plastic that was all detailed up. That at the end of the day, you couldn't tell that. But all right. So I'm not gonna sand these down, but the nubs are removed. These are not closing up very smooth. Probably because it's all ABS plastic that doesn't slide very well. Alright, so that's done. Now these nubs, I will have to make sure they're flush because they kind of interfere or interface with other parts. What is that? That's not a nub. That's just a really big part, but it looks like it's supposed to be there. I will check the guide because the guide usually has stuff that you're not supposed to cut off marked as like, don't cut this. So I just want to confirm that I'm not supposed to cut that. Yeah, it doesn't have a don't cut this, but I do see it, so they don't want me to cut that off. That's the back, and this is the front. I almost want to switch to my old nub nippers to cut these nubs off because they're so thick that cutting thick plastic will damage your god hands. Like, it's a quick way of doing damage. So I'd rather use the old nippers than risk damaging the brand new pair that I just paid $60 for. Alright, all the nubs have been removed. So we take this back portion. Which one is the front? Does it matter or is it symmetrical? Looks symmetrical. So we're going to put that in there, push it real tight. God damn. This is a lot of plastic to line up. It's going slowly but surely. Go. I'm hoping it's going. Otherwise, I don't want to be squeezing this. There we go. There's so many pegs between each part that, like, you have to kind of squeeze it at different spots. Otherwise, they'll start to go, like, cockeyed. And you got to work it, like, left to right. This is a good workout. I can feel my muscles burning from squeezing this so much. Can't get that gap closed. It closes and then it kind of springs right back open. I think it should be good because I can squeeze it when I have to slide something over this. Would be nice to get it to close though. Anyway, what a massive piece of plastic. This is easily, yeah, this has got to be where the whole thing fits in there. I'm just realizing now between my camera height, like this coming up to the camera, like I may not have enough room to assemble this guy under the camera as we start going, but we'll tackle that challenge when we get there, I guess. All right. So now we need W4 and W3. Wow, I've never seen that. This has a warning that says, be careful not to get your finger caught. I don't think I've ever seen a warning that says, don't get your finger caught when you're assembling this. But all right, so we're going to need W and U. Those should be on the table. Let's hunt. I don't know what color they are. That should help. W. W4 is gray. All right, so that's the base part. And then U. U is that thing. Okay. Now that I kind of know what I'm looking for, should help. I apologize in advance. This is going to be a lot of screeching plastic as I pick this up and sort through. So I do apologize. I'm going to have to find a better way to sort through this. So here's one runner we need. There's too many parts here. All right, there it is. I just gotta get to it. Okay. God damn. Hey, thanks for stopping in. Yeah, I like this chair. I'm sure it was blocking the view of everything that I was doing as I was trying to figure out what is where in this enormous pile of plastic. I tried keeping most of it on the table, but it's not the best way to go about it. All right, what parts do I need? 4 and 3. Four and 3. The good thing is, with every step that I go through, it's a little less clutter because it's something else I'm taking out of the pile. But we have a lot of piles to go. This weighs like 3 pounds. This is so much plastic. And now I need... Alright, so I'm going to do this anyway. I'm going to jump around because it looks like we're doing the left side and the right side. I'm going to do them both at the same time to save myself some time for having to dig this back out again. So we need 1, 2, 1. Yeah, I usually kind of track it by that, by looking at pile of stuff that I've already finished. I have a junk pile over there, and as I look, I'm like, wow, I've actually gone through a lot more than I thought I did. Because so far, I've already taken this much out, but that's not very much compared to everything else. All right. Whoa. So that's one side. They tell me to do this later, but I have it here now, so we're going to do it now. We're going to do the other side. It's a goofy concept. I don't even really have much of a connection with it because I don't... Like, I watched Zeong narrative once, and it was whatever. But yeah, so adding this much more to the pile already. But it was just the gimmick of, like, this is such a ridiculously big kit that it's like, yeah, I'm buying this. Just to say I built it, and it'll be towering over everything once I'm finally done. But the clipping is pretty cathartic. Before I did a lot of these builds online, where I'm doing everything right now, I used to do all the cutting out of the parts, like off stream. Just because I found that like so relaxing, like a day after work, and I'm just like, you know, I got home, I want to work on my hobby. It's not going to be constructing it, but it's like, you know, I could just sit here and clip through all this stuff and turn my brain off and get some production going, but just, I don't know, simple menial task like that, like just like, all right, I'm just going to like clip through, make some progress. Yeah, I'm really bored with the char clone. Like I don't know if they do that because it sells or if they do that I mean, it does sell. But like, I don't know if they do it. I've never understood it. Every series, yes, like it's like, even now, like, I want to make excuses for it, like back in the day, and say like, you know, it was, writing wasn't as good, animation wasn't as good, but like, okay, whatever. That they've had literally, what, 79? They've had like almost 45 years to come up with original concepts, and every single series they're just like, let's redraw the same characters. We'll give them different names, but it's just the same character. And it gets really boring. That was why, as I was watching Gundam in Order, when we got to like F91, like, yes, it was a guy with a mask as the antagonist, but it was like space pirates, and he had a different mask, and he wasn't like just a blonde boring guy with a red mobile suit. Like, it felt like a new direction, and I was like, oh, some fresh ideas, this is cool. And then I watched Victory, and it was like almost everything was fresh ideas, like goofy artwork, insectoid looking Vespa mobile suits, and like it felt like they took everything that I was like, oh, this is what you get when it's Universal Century, and they threw it out. And it was exciting, and it was new. And I think that's why people don't like it, because they're like, it's Universal Century, but it's different. But I don't know. Good thing is there's enough Gundam out there that you can find what you like, I guess. But instead, people just complain about what they don't like rather than just embrace what they do like. But that's kind of... Yeah, no, I agree with that. Like, it's gotten so big that if they don't... It's gotten so big that it almost defines itself. Like, you know what you're getting when it's Universal Century. And if you come up with Universal Century and it doesn't have the hallmarks of, like, what makes something Universal Century, people will complain. And it's like, well, give the people what they want, I guess? I don't know. All right, this is, what, the waste unit? Maybe some sort of waste unit. I don't know how much of this, like, we're gonna see, or how much of this just gets layered over layered over layered. So I don't want to, like, leave it looking ugly. Some of it I know we don't see, but like, I don't want to leave these nub marks, especially on gray that we can clean up easy enough. I just get baffled when I see, like, okay, so there was Char. I get it. He was an iconic character. Then there was Quattro, who is Char. We know it's the same character. But, like, he did stuff differently. It was a little different. Okay. But then they, like, even non-Universal Century, they couldn't get away from it. Like, there's Char, and then there's Full Frontal, and then there's Zex Marquise from Wing, and then Rula Cruce from Seed, and even as far as, I forget the guy's name, but Mula Flaga, when he got, like, brainwashed, I forget whatever he called himself. It's just like they take a blonde Western guy and put him in a mask, and he's suddenly the bad guy. And I'm just like, it's so boring. Do something different. Even, like, I can't remember his name, but the dude from Victory, he had a mask on, but it was like a ski mask almost. It was like, yeah, we'll change it up. It doesn't need to be... Oh, yeah, Mr. Bushido. Graham Acre. I actually liked Graham Acre as a character before, like, he got all, like, hell bent on revenge and stuff. And then he was just like, I'm leaving my past behind. My new name is Mr. Bushido. And I'm like, oh, you went from just like a normal character to like putting on the mask. I'm the bad guy. Although I do. Did you ever watch Awakening of the Trailblazer? He had like the dumbest send off for like an established character. I guess that's supposed to be canon, right? Like it was aliens. Everybody was like, "Why is it aliens? That's stupid." And I don't think it was stupid. I'll take different any day of the week. But how they did it was like there was like the big alien planet that was approaching Earth and they needed to destroy it. And like Graham Acre just showed up and he was like, Setsuna, you need to get through their defenses. I'll get an opening for you. Follow me. And he just charged into like the alien planet and burst through their shield and died. And then Setsuna went in after him. And I'm just like, that was it? He lasted through all of Double O, both seasons, into the movie, just for him to be like, I'm going to throw away my life just crashing into this thing. Like, what? I read something that said, like, somewhere along the line, maybe in like a follow-up manga, they said he lived and he didn't die in that battle, but there's no actual... I don't know. I think there was like nothing really reported. I think he was just... Script said he was supposed to die. And then canonically they kind of just said, oh no, he was alive. He survived. And I was like, oh. So he heroically threw his life away, but he was fine. He got better. I don't know. This is the part where they tell me, careful not to pinch myself, which was wild. I had never seen instructions telling me not to pinch myself. I assume it's this seam here because I have to push these together. Look at these gross nub marks, but we're not going to see them. We might see some of these because I think these, like, these details shine through. Yeah, I kind of was shocked. I was like, where does it say it here? Be careful not to get your finger caught. I was like, that's nice of them. I guess it says it a few times. Oh, that's the left and right, so it's the same step. But like, and they even translated it to English. Like, they were that worried about me hurting my fingers. So I'm going to do my best not to hurt myself. I don't want their effort to be in vain. No, there we go. That's probably what happened. Guys in there, like, taking the CAD models, going, does this right? Does this piece fit? Do we have this right? And they're just like, all bandaged hands. They're just like, what did you do? There we go. So that fit together better than I thought it would. This isn't like a funny story, but it's something I think about, especially now that I just brought up like sitting there with pinched hands or bandaged hands. I have a coworker. She's older than, she's probably in her 60s. She has like a 24-year-old son. I guess he has autism, and he is into building these kits as well. And she's kind of whacked out. She's kind of weird. She was like explaining, she's like, oh, all those tools are sharp, right? And I'm like, well, yeah, they got to cut plastic and stuff. And she said, oh, I wish they weren't so sharp. My son was building them and I came home and both of his hands were just bleeding. And I'm like, what? Like, what is he doing? And she's like, I don't know, both of his hands were just bleeding and he didn't know how to get a bandage. So he just sat there and he said, "Mom, I'm glad you finally came home. I've been bleeding for like half an hour." I'm just like, okay, maybe this isn't the hobby for him. If he just, especially now that they say, don't cut your hands or whatever. And then she was talking to somebody else about me. They were like, "Oh, he's into that hobby, blah, blah, blah. Is he autistic too?" And they were like, "No, you don't have to be autistic to be into like model building." She was like, "Oh, I don't know. I didn't know anybody who was into it." Yeah, it definitely doesn't seem like a hobby you really want to get into. Especially like if you need supervision, these things terrify me. They're so thin and so sharp that like this will go like even if I was just holding something and I pinched my finger, that would cut me and I wouldn't even feel it. Come on, go back out. All right. So I think we're gonna have to put a little detail on some of this, but we're gonna need WG and WI, WH. All right, those are all on the floor. Yeah, this stuff will cut through anything. I cut my hand one time on a super sharp knife and ended up getting stitches. I did nerve damage to my hand, but I didn't know that I cut myself because it was so sharp that when it cut across my finger, it damaged the nerve to the point where I didn't feel the cut because it was that clean. And I only realized that I had cut myself because I had shorts on and like I was like, "What is all over my leg?" And I realized I was bleeding from my hand all down my leg, like from my knee down to my ankle. And I'm just like, "Where's this blood coming from?" "Oh, it's coming from my hand." All right, so we're W, G, I, and H. So what colors? I think G is red. G, I, and H. W, G. Oh, that's white, gray, brown? Oh, red. Okay. W, G. Oh, G is this two. This G1 and G2. I think we need G1. G1 is red. H. G1. I1 and H. All right. Now it's getting a little more manageable. These are smaller. They're not gigantic parts. No, I didn't. I don't think I passed out. I didn't. It didn't hurt at all until I realized. Like I think because it cut the nerve, didn't send any signal to my brain. I felt nothing. But then as soon as I realized that I cut myself, my brain was like, it finally like the message slowly got there, and I was like, "Ooh, it does hurt. I guess it had hurt this whole time." It was like a weird delayed reaction almost. All right, I'm digging this because like this is the whole thing. We use these two parts, and then we can throw this one away. We use these parts and throw that away. We're moving through this, and yet it's still going to take me like 2 more weeks. WG1, 2. That is a mouthful of a part. WG1. Which one is 2? 2. Oh, we still need P. P is in that amount. Oh, gosh. All right, I'll dig through that later. We need 4 and 18. 4. Here's 4. 18. Move that out of the way. All right. That we're done with. Oh man. Start applying stickers first. All right. This will be complicated. All right, so this is WH. I need WG2. And I need P. And E. Oh, I already did that. Let's look for P. P, what color is P? White. I think that's P right there. It is. We're lucking out. This almost looks like the Cubile, but I know it's not. All right, so we need P2. P2 is this one. P4. And I think that's it. The good thing about all this plastic and whatnot is progress. We have something visual that we can look at and go, oh, I've made this much by the end of the stream. I've done some other kits where like you spend 2 or 3 hours and it's just tiny little parts and it's like, oh, I've got something that fits in the palm of my hand, and it wasn't even H4 and H2. H4 and 2. So this one, it's a convoluted name. The total name for this is just called the Neo-Zeong Narrative, is the name of the kit. But nothing can ever really be clear or straightforward about it. As I was talking about with Extra earlier, there's a lot of Gundam, and the series kind of reuses the same, not people, but like factions, I guess. So in the early Gundam that came out in like the late 70s, there was a mobile suit called the Zeong, and it was like incomplete, and it kind of looked like this, but it was a goofy looking suit because it was like 1970s design, and they kind of made it a little goofy. And then it was supposed to just be like a really big suit. And then they reused that idea in Unicorn, which I think came out in 2010. And a guy had a mobile suit that looked like this, but it was red. And it was called the Sinanju. So there are people inside of these, like in the cockpit. So there's a pilot in each one of these. It just so happens that there's a tiny pilot inside of this, and then this guy gets inside of this gigantic thing as well. So it's like a robot with a person inside of it, inside of a bigger robot around it. That's why it's so big. No, it's fine. I mean, it's all in my head. I can kind of try and explain along. So yeah, as far as the TV show considers it, hang on, that one goes in the back. We need 11 on the top and 9 in the front. I only have to pay attention because these are a little bit different. So that one's the back, that one's going to be the top, and 9 is going to be the front. So that, yeah, in Gundam Unicorn, there was this guy, and he was getting all beat up. It's almost like, it's kind of how cartoons go, you know? This guy's getting all beat up, and then he's like, aha, you thought you thought me had me beat. I've got this gigantic suit of armor called the Neo Zeong, which was when they like recreated the Zeong from the 1970s show. And it was so big that the little guy that's already inside of this got into this suit of armor. And it was huge and it was monstrous. And that whole series kind of concluded. And then some guy, I don't remember if he like repaired the Zeong or the Neo Zeong. I don't remember what he did. But he ended up building this one, which is a white version. That's why this is kind of light gray and all these parts are white. It's like a rebuilt version of something that somebody had earlier on in the series or something. But there's a lot of convoluted. Before I started watching it, I just thought the model kits were cool, and I didn't know any version of anything. I just was like, yeah, this one's cool, I'll buy it. And then I'd watch the show and I'd be like, oh, that guy sucks, I don't like him. And then be like, well, whatever. And you hit it right on the head. The number one moneymaker for this whole franchise turned into these model kits. They make more money selling model kits than they do like selling the anime or anything else. So it all turns into like, hey, we just got to make different versions of the same thing because because that way we can convince people to buy it twice. As a kid, I never really understood that. Absolutely. I was just about to say that. Transformers. So I don't know about the original Transformers cartoon, but I can't imagine it's any different. But I remember in the 90s when everything started to go like really cheesy 3D. Because it was in its fledgling era and people couldn't do a lot of stuff with it. So the Transformers from the 90s, when it was in 3D, it was called Beast Wars. So instead of like cars, they all turned into like animals. And I found out after the fact, the board of directors for the people that were... Okay, yeah, I love that one. I watched that somewhat recently because it was on Netflix. And I was like, I haven't thought about this show since like probably the late 90s. I'm going to watch this. And it was goofy. Like, it was not what I remembered. This is getting ugly. I gotta not use my clippers here. So the board of directors for that show actually controlled the Hasbro that produced the toys actually controlled the narrative of the show. And like what would happen is at the end of season 1 or whatever, there'd be a big battle, and I think they were the Maximals and the Predacons, because I think it was supposed to be like mammals and predators or something. I don't remember. But they would get into like a big fight, and the building would collapse, and it would be left on this big cliffhanger ending. And for a story purpose, you're like, ooh, I'm gonna watch next season to see what happened. You know, I want to see who won the fight or whatever. But what would happen in the off season was they would look at toy sales, and they'd be like, well, this guy didn't sell very well, so he's gonna be one of the guys that dies because kids don't want to buy that toy. And this guy sold really well, so what we'll do is we'll say he got like injured, and then we'll rebuild him so he'll look different. So now kids will have to get the old version, and then they'll have like the rebuilt version, and it was just a way of like getting rid of characters that didn't sell very well. And then the ones that did sell, well, giving kids well, Mom, I got to get the new one. Okay. I guess I wasn't as jaded back then to view it like that, but as an adult, I'm like, yeah, that totally makes sense. Everything is right. Yeah, they just can't just be happy that the kid went out and bought the Transformer that he likes. They're like, we need to make a new one to make him buy another one. And it totally works. My friend has a 9-year-old, and he doesn't understand that he's a victim of consumerism. He plays like Fortnite on a computer, and he sends me all these links on Discord, and he's like, is this a good mouse? Will this make me better at Fortnite? And I'll be like, no. He's like, oh, but this is the one the pros use. It says, this pro says he uses it. I'm like, that's because he's being paid to tell you he uses it. Like, he's like, I want this one for Christmas. And I'm like, you don't understand. Like, but he's 9. It's tough, you know, to convince him that a computer mouse isn't going to do anything different, but yeah, I remember watching all the Beast Wars episodes and just getting so confused. So I used to get up for school at I had to leave my house at like 6:45 ish, and Beast Wars would come on before school. It would come on at 6:30. So I would watch like the first 15 minutes of every episode, and then I had to leave to go to my bus stop. So I never really knew how any of the episodes ended. I just watched the first 15 minutes, and I was like, this is all on Netflix? I'm totally catching up. I'm going to watch this whole stupid show. And it got really weird. Like, I think towards the last season, they ended up, like, they found these 2 monkeys in the woods. I guess the show took place in the past. I didn't really know that. But they found these, like, 2, like, chimpanzee babies in the woods, and then they realized that, like, these are the 2 chimpanzees that will eventually evolve into the human race, so we need to protect them. So the whole show became about them babysitting these little monkeys, and they like set up a school, and they were like teaching them to read and write. And I'm like, how did Transformers become like a PBS kids show teaching monkeys how to write? It was very odd. I guess I missed that whole thing because maybe that was the part that came on after I left for school. I remember it was just like robots fighting over stuff, and then it became like, we need to educate these primates. I didn't either. I saw a picture of it because I was trying to tell somebody and they didn't believe me. And I was like, no, hang on, I gotta find this. Oh God, they look so bad. I don't know if this link will copy, but I'll try it. Those were the 2 stupid little monkeys. And then that was them, like when they tried to set up a school and they were like trying to teach him how to read and write and stuff. And I don't know. He looks like he's trying to teach him leverage or like how to use a lever. I don't know. It was just a very weird show. I don't remember it taking that path at all. Monkey daycare. I wonder if the monkeys had toys that sold well. It was so bizarre. That was like maybe the last 5 or 6 episodes of the last season. I don't remember. Have any of you guys watched that show Archer? I think it's on FX. I have not seen the show, but I know what it is. But there was a show. Okay, so you know the show at least. There was a show on Cartoon Network called Frisky Dingo. I don't remember when, maybe 2010? Archer is kind of weird because it's not bad. Archer kind of reminds me of Rick and Morty, where like the show's not bad, but the people who really love the show make me not want to watch it. Like the Rick and Morty fans, I'm like, I don't want to be like you guys. You're annoying. But Archer's not a bad show. But where I was going with it was the people who made Archer, or the guy who made Archer. In Archer, he's like a spy. But like he had a previous show called Frisky Dingo where it was almost the exact same character. His name was not Archer, it was like Xander Cruz. And he was like a billionaire superhero, kind of like Iron Man, where like he was just really rich and but really incompetent. And it was a pretty funny show, but like what happened was they had one season and it was like 10 episodes, and then they got an okay for a second season. And as they got towards the end of the second season, the show got canceled. So they were like, well, what are we going to do with our remaining like 6 episodes? And they just absolutely ruined the show. They killed pretty much every single character. They just flipped the script, ruined everything. And then after, they were like, I think they got approached by FX or something. They're like, oh, we want to pick up your show. And he's like, but we just ruined it. Like, the last few episodes, we just, like, I can't even know how to explain it. It was just like really, really goofy stuff. Like the main character's girlfriend got bit by an ant and she turned into a radioactive pregnant ant and destroyed the city. It was just silly stuff that you can't come back from. So like after they ruined it, they're like FX was like, yeah, we want to pick up your show. We'll continue it over here. And they were just like, we can't do that. Like it's beyond hope. We've just ruined a whole show. And they were like, well, what if we repurpose it? What if we just, change enough about the show that it's something completely different? And they turned it into what is now Archer. So they just kind of like rewrote the character a bit and then made Archer. But I was like, that's almost what the end of Beast Wars reminded me of, because they were just like, well, the show's getting canceled. What if we just turned it into like Monkey Daycare or whatever? They just went crazy. All right, so we can see through some of this. Not all of it, but this is like, I don't even know how much shows up. Let me put a little bit of black on the back. Oh, okay, it does show up. Although not on the camera with the glare. I'm just trying to figure out how much I can detail while it's all apart, because if I start layering things, it'll be more... a lot trickier. And, I guess, well, the autofocus doesn't help, but I guess you can kind of see that. I don't know why it's taking a picture now. It seems it never did that before. I figure I'll take the safe approach and do some detailing now, rather than have to then regret it and look at it and go, oh, I should have done it when it was all apart, because then I'll probably want to take it all apart. I don't know how much, I guess the camera's picking some of it up. Just enough to get some shading in some of these high and low areas. Oops. Oh wow, that was one of the worst I've done. But it's nice and easy to clean up, so it's not a big deal. This is so unwieldy. Alright. Now we just go over it. All right, so let's see. It's tough with the light, but you can kind of see there's at least some sort of shading and detail on some of these compared to like the other side where it's just a single color. Just enough to make it interesting to look at, I guess, rather than just plain uniform color plastic. That's really all I'm going for. It's a lot of the work that you can put into stuff like this is all the subtle details. Like when you look at some professionally done stuff, it's always like the little details that make something look so much better. But then again, sometimes it's the little details that people do like too much of. Like when I see people painting these kits and stuff, personally, I think sometimes people go too far with like weathering and detailing and paint chipping and stuff. And it's kind of like, all right, like I get trying to make it look realistic and have like wear marks and stuff like that. But some people will, the whole thing will look like it's rusted out, or I don't know. Sometimes, I guess it's personal preference. Some people are into stuff like that. But I just look at it, I'm like, it looks a little bit much for me. I like a nice clean look usually. Detailed but clean. What do we? Just an hour. All right, that's not bad. All right, now, I don't know how much of this we see. I'm going to cheat. I'm going to look at some pictures. We see all of this, don't we? Looks like we do. So knowing that, I'll get some brown ink because I like to do brown on top of reds because I think it comes out with a warmer tone than if I just used a black. Now let me get refocused. Wait a minute, I just moved the camera, didn't I? A little bit. So, these are the small little areas I'm trying to get brown into. These I think get, yeah, those get something in there with a sticker, but I can get all these little notches. Oh, what the heck? Let's put some in here. Oops. And let's pull down a little bit. All right. I don't like working with brown as much because it seems to take longer to dry for some reason. I don't know what it is. When I kind of try and clean up the brown, it doesn't clean up as well. Like it all wears right off. So I try and go a little gentler with it. Although well, you can kind of see it on camera. It works better for these panel lines like right here. All right. Now we're going to try and, this is like way too close. I'm going to try and line this up and get this all snapped in. All right. Good enough. So we take this, and this goes right there. This goes right there. So these are the areas where like these weapons go in as like a hanger or armor piece or something, but we don't need them for now. So this part, pretty simple. We got panel line there and then a little bit around this round part. So this will be pretty good because you can barely see it when we look at the white, but when we put some color in there, it'll really stand out. We're 0 for 3 so far with staying in the grooves. Can we do it? Can we do it? Oh, we're 1 for 4. We didn't come out. 2 for 5. All right. Getting there. Now we need a Q-tip. Not that one. There's a bunch of Q-tips. What is, oh gosh. Oh no. That rubbed right off. Oops. Oops. Now this plastic is very different because it took the ink and is almost resisting me wiping it off. So if it's being stubborn, I will use the eraser. Let's see if I can get it to focus again. I can't tell if it's the light. Good enough. Now we'll clean up again. All right. Slap this right on the back. A slap on the back. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. There's some panel lining here. That I'm totally doing off camera because these are goofy, really large parts. Anybody do any Black Friday shopping? I resisted the urge this year. Although, I guess I shouldn't say I resisted the urge. There's like nothing I wanted, so I guess I resisted the urge to spend money just because stuff was on sale. Well, that helps you spend money. Yeah, right. The best Friday pickup, best Black Friday pickup I've ever had is that TV. When was it? 2016 maybe? I was looking on Craigslist and it was maybe like the day before Thanksgiving or something like that. Guy listed that TV, a 32-inch Sony flat screen CRT, free, just come take it. And I was like, really? Because I have my old video game systems like my Super Nintendo and stuff, and they don't hook up to modern TVs anymore. So if you want to do the old video gaming, you gotta find an old TV. And that TV, he still had all the paperwork for it. It was like $4,000 TV he bought in like 1999. And he's like, I don't ever use it. My daughter said it's an old TV. She bought me one of these new flat screens, whatever. I just got to get rid of this one. And I was like, just free, huh? So I got it free. It's 170 pounds. I couldn't use my arms for like 2 days. I guess that was the price I paid. But I was happy because you see stuff like that online. It's like at least $200 or $300 somebody wants for it, and then you got to come get it. But it was 10 minutes down the road from me, and it was free. So I was happy. All right, where did I put my stickers? I think the stickers are under all this plastic. Oh. They were not. All right. Yeah, I've been super happy with that TV. The picture quality is really nice, and I'll hook my old, like a Super Nintendo or my PlayStation, the original PlayStation, or like my Sega Saturn. Oh yeah? I know they make a lot of adapters, and they make, like I have this cable that supposedly like it goes from old video game consoles to like modern stuff to make it look really nice, but nothing kind of beats the old technology that it was meant for. At least I think. Yeah, so I had an issue with my Super Nintendo. Well, I say had. I think I still have the issue where it's so old that the port doesn't work right. Like I think just the weight of the cable pulling down is like messing up the connectors. So like my Super Nintendo only works when I tip it on its side because it takes the weight of the cable off, and I'm like, I'm just gonna leave this alone for now because it's really gonna start breaking soon. Oh, it's a pathetic mess. I had to like put it in there and then turn it on its side and then like put a book next to it to like put it up against the wall. Whatever. It still plays games. It's like it's like 1995 maybe when I got it. So it's had a good run. All right, so it says start applying stickers first, but I think they mean put this in here and then apply the sticker. Like put the stickers on this before I attach this, because I don't think... I don't know. They don't do that good of a job explaining what they mean. They just say start doing it first. So I missed out on... I had the original Nintendo. And that was back when you had the... like the RF adapter. Like the antenna went into the back of the TV, and then you had to put the Nintendo gray box, and then that went through. And it made the antenna not... like the reception wasn't that good. So... anytime I would play Nintendo, my dad would always say, you got to unhook the Nintendo. So we'd unhook the Nintendo so we could watch TV. And then when we want it, we'd have to take the antenna off, plug it all back in. And just doing that over and over and over. Like, some of the cables wore out. And parents don't know and kids don't know. So it was just my dad's inclination that, like, the Nintendo broke the TV. Because of the Nintendo, the antenna stopped working. And I was like... no, but I don't really know, and he didn't know. So, when, like, Super Nintendo came out, he was just like, you're not getting a new Super Nintendo because your old one broke the TV. You're just going to break the TV with the new one. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I want the Super Nintendo. So he was just like, no, I'm not getting you a Super Nintendo. So, I never, I missed out on, like, the Super Nintendo... Nintendo 64, and then PlayStation came out, and I was stuck doing chores around the house and stuff, and I saved up enough money that I was like, I'm gonna buy my own PlayStation. And I think by that time I had like a TV in my room, and my parents were like, fine, if you break your own TV, we don't want to hear you complain. And I was like, it was never the Nintendo that broke the TV. But whatever. You're not... kids aren't going to convince their parents of stuff if they don't understand it. But yeah, I kind of missed out on like that whole Nintendo, Super Nintendo and Nintendo 64 generation. So like, I had an NES, and all my friends had like the Super Nintendo, and I never played any of those games. And they'd all talk about Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy and all these cool Super Nintendo games, and I'm like, I never played it. I don't have a Super Nintendo. So now that I have all my money and disposable income to waste on foolish things, I go to like old video game conventions, and I'm like, I always wanted this console, I'm gonna buy it. I always wanted this game, wanted this. So I filled my spare hobby room with just old video game consoles that my parents were like, I'm not buying you that. So I'm like, fine, I'm buying it myself. Yeah, like my neighbor had a lot of games, but anytime we'd go over, people mostly just wanted to play like Mario Kart, which was fun. Like, I get wanting to play Mario Kart, but like they would always have like competitions, and it always would make me mad because like I didn't have a Super Nintendo, so like me playing Mario Kart, it was like my first time. I'm just like, I don't know who I'm good at. I don't know what the weapons do. I don't know these tracks. So like we'd be doing 2-player, and I'd always finish like 7th or whatever, and they'd be like, all right, you lost, hand the controller to somebody else. And I'm like, but I'm trying to learn. So like I'd play it, but not for very long stints at a time, and I'd watch everybody else, and I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, that's what I do now. I have my dog She's a time sink, but otherwise, yeah, it's just me. And I spend all my money on foolish things that I've always wanted as a kid. Because I watch the news and I'm like, wow, everything sucks. Everything going on is just horrible. I'm going to ignore it all and just buy cool nerd shit that I've always wanted. And it makes me happy. And I can forget about all the dumb stuff going on in the world. Game Boy. All right, so I had Super Nintendo. Oh no, I had a regular Nintendo, and then my parents bought my brother and I like a Game Boy because that wasn't hooked up to the TV. So my mom's like, "All right, we'll buy him a Game Boy." And then I just didn't have anything, and I went right from. Well, I guess I bought a Sega Master System from like a consignment shop or so. Somebody turned it in and didn't know what it was, and I was like, "I want that." But then past that, I went right from Nintendo to PlayStation. And then it was all done. It was all downhill from there. Because I got into gaming. My friends at school were into gaming, and they had different consoles, and like ever since then it's just been like, all right, I'm keeping up with all the trends. I'm buying all the current stuff. And I'm going back and filling up my backlog with everything that I always wanted. I just bought, not just, but I most recently bought a Sega Saturn. And I can't believe how much I like the Sega Saturn. Sega Saturn came out right around the time Nintendo 64 and Sony, the first PlayStation came out. And I think, I don't know what the deal was, but the marketing was like really bad. There's a bunch of different controllers. Yes, it is. So this is the Sega Saturn, the original controller. I always thought this one looked cool. A lot of people didn't like it. And I realized after the fact kind of why. It's not... It doesn't fit your hand very well. It's kind of weird. Yeah, it's... I mean, the back fits all right, but like you hold here and it just feels like it goes so much higher than it needs to. So then after a while, they came out with a redesigned one. And they redesigned it to look like this, which is a lot smaller and it fits a lot better. They weren't all see-through. This is a clear one that I got that's just a little easier because it was brand new, but it's so much easier to hold. But I really, really liked how Sega Saturn did like 2D. Oh. I couldn't, like, Saturn came out when 3D was just like starting to be a big thing. And I think it didn't do 3D very well, but what it did do was it did like 2D stuff, like sprites and the art, like the pixel style art is so bright and colorful and smooth, and it renders everything like so good. But I think because 3D was like the new buzz technology, because it didn't do that as well, people were kind of like, eh. I certainly was at the time. I was not hyped for the Saturn. I was just kind of like, yeah, PlayStation's so much better. And even Nintendo 64 I thought was so much better. But now that I kind of like appreciate it for what it does rather than like what it didn't do at the time. I really like it. There's a lot of cool games for it that are only out for Saturn. Yeah, PlayStation was really. It was pretty crazy when that came out. What do we do? No, it's too far down. I still think, to date, the biggest jump in video games is going from PlayStation 1 to PlayStation 2. Because when I first saw like my PlayStation 2 and how that was where like it had enough power to start doing like individual fingers and like the faces could move and the eyes could blink, because PlayStation 1 everything, it was in 3D but it was like blocky weird nonsense, like the models could move but you couldn't like animate the 3D. It was just kind of like you build a goofy little I'm sure you've probably seen the original Tomb Raider, like the Lara Croft model. She's just like a bunch of weird polygons. Her face doesn't move. It's just plastered on her head. And then when by the time 2 came out, it was powerful enough where like we can have like 3D faces and individual fingers and all kinds of crap. And it was just like, this blew me away. And then when 3 came out, it wasn't bad, but it didn't like blow me away like when 2 first did. And I was never like wowed by a console release the way when 2 came out. This is where I need my damn third hand. Because I need one hand to hold the part, one hand to hold the sticker, and then like a third hand to like start pushing it down. I assume you mean PlayStation? You skipped PlayStation 3? PlayStation 3 was my least favorite. I did not like it. I don't even really know why. It just... The games didn't seem that good, and the marketing was kind of annoying, and I don't know. I felt like they dropped the ball on a lot of stuff that they did with 3. I think it is. All right, see how much easier that was when I have my little bench vise and I can have a third hand? Maybe that's all I need. I just need to be a mutant with 3 arms and I could do these things flawlessly without all these fancy tools. Oh, and there's my dog barking. You know, that's a good question. Why stop there? G. Is that G? Go. Hey. But yeah, you were playing Ocarina of Time the other day, and like I had said, I never played. I mostly skipped out on the Nintendo 64 generation, so I had never played that game. But I was shocked at how... So I had played a game for the original PlayStation called Brave Fencer Musashi. And I played that on stream maybe last year. And I always knew that like Brave Fencer Musashi was like PlayStation, or not PlayStation, it was like Squaresoft's version of like a Zelda clone. And I just knew, I was like, oh, this is kind of like what a Zelda game is like. And seeing you play that, I was like, wow, I can't believe, I don't want to say how much they ripped off, but just how much, like how similar the concept of Brave Fencer was to Zelda. And because I really enjoyed Brave Fencer. Oh, come on, I got a hair in there. I think so. Past like the very beginning. Like I know I've played it maybe like the first 10 minutes or so. Just like being at a friend's house and like playing it. Like that's a game you got to like sit down and play for days and days at a time. So it's not like, oh, I'll go over and just like play Zelda, you know? That's kind of how those adventure games are. So like I'd play it for 10 minutes, but I'd ultimately realize like I'm not going to get anywhere in this game, so like I'll play something else. But so I'd never like seen past just the beginning. But Brave Fencer had all these like areas where there's like bomb plants and everything else, and I was like, oh, so like it's like I knew it was almost a homage to those type of games, but seeing how similar it was, I was like, oh wow, they copied a lot of ideas. All right, that was kind of painful, but we got them on there. I hate color correcting stickers, but they are what they are. Oh yeah, that's high praise, huh? All right. Yeah, it's a PlayStation 1 game, but it's very very similar to Zelda. Um it has a lot of charm to it. That was the one thing that kind of like attracted me to that game. It was just like different and silly and didn't take itself all that serious. Yeah, it was like a serious game, but it was a fun game. Like all right, oh my gosh, how does this fit? Is that it? They just kind of I don't know. I think a lot of times there were doors that were just kind of like open, like threshold. It'd be like a black door, and you could walk through it, and it would be like a loading screen into a new area. So I don't know if there were like doors that you could actually open, but there were some sort of like a lot of puzzles where like you could open a door if you had to drag a statue and put it over a switch, and then a door would open and stuff like that. Hang on, let's see. I knew there was a part where you were trying to open a door, yet you put the statue over it or something. So this, oops. This was the game that I played that's very similar. Oh, trust me. It's not just on stream. Sometimes I do stupid stuff. Like, because you don't know. Like, I don't want to say it's muscle memory, but you do stuff that you think makes sense, and the game doesn't. The game doesn't work the same way your brain is on a different frequency almost. My favorite game of all time is Xenogears for the PlayStation. And it's a JRPG. It's a long, very, very convoluted story, but it's... And I got stuck in that game for a very long time. And then when I found out why I got stuck, I was like mad at the game. I was just like, this is absurd. Like, um, it was an area where you're in the sewers and you had to swim around, and it said right on the screen, it was like press X to swim. So I was pressing X, and my character was kicking as I was pressing X. So I'm like, all right, that's how I pedal around. So I'm just kicking, and it's working. I'm swimming all the way through the sewers, and then I get to this part where it's like an incline, and I'm trying to swim up, and then I'd go back, and I'd swim up, and I'd go back, and I'm like, what do I do? So I assumed I wasn't supposed to go that way. So I swam all around. I probably spent like half an hour, 45 minutes, just like paddling around these sewers because I didn't know where to go. So I finally get the strategy guide. The strategy guide says like go up this incline, and I'm like, how? I've tried like I've tried so many times. I don't know how to get up this incline. And like the guide didn't tell me. Nothing online gave me any information. At the end of the day, what they meant when they said press X to swim, they meant hold X. And like because it said press, I was just pressing it. And it was like giving me little bursts of swim power. And it made me think, okay, that's what it wants me to do because I was swimming all around the sewer. And then, like, ultimately, they just meant, like, hold it down and you can swim right up. And I was like, oh, that's all I needed to do? Maybe say hold X instead of press X. I was like, I don't know. It was embarrassing, but it was, like, funny. Like, it was just like, come on, really? I got stuck on that, of all things. Like, all right. I wish. So I gotta constantly refocus this because if I put autofocus on, every time I move my hand, it tries to like track it and makes it super blurry. But then, like right now, it's focused on this, and if I move this out of the way, like this stuff's blurry. So if I refocus it and then I put it back, it's a pain in the butt. But you know what? I'll be alright. Damn technology. So now we get this one. Yeah, I'm trying. At least I have the option of like putting it on manual focus. Because when I first started, I'm just using a generic webcam over here. And I had two of them. I had one here and one here. And the webcam was not meant to capture like high resolution type stuff. And it worked, but it didn't work very well. And I believe it was Extra was in chat earlier, who was like, "Why don't you check out a DSLR camera?" And I did, and it has worked so much better. And it has so many more options than just a $50 webcam or something. But the manual focus thing, I mean, it's good. I like it, and it captures much better detail. I just have to remember every now and then. Oh yeah. I'm 4 inches lower. I gotta update it. Are these all the same sticker? N. Looks like they are. Good thing is this thing is so bulky now that I don't need to put it in like a bench vise because it's so heavy it just sits down all on its own. Yeah, right? Almost 2 hours, and this is all we've done, but it's like it's heavy. I mean, we still have copious piles of plastic left, but we're getting there. One day when this is all done and it's towering up on my shelf above everything else, we'll be like, remember when we built that? And it took us forever and it felt like we were never getting anywhere. Well, we're done. It was 10 years. I'm actually surprised that I like wanted to start on this because I just got this in the mail. Normally big kits like this, I kind of like hold off on. Not for any reason, but it's like I don't know how to explain this. Like it feels like I like the potential. Like I like having a backlog of like I have 50 model kits I can work on, and like a really expensive one like this. I like the idea of like I want to do it perfect, so I don't want to like rush it, and I have another kit that's just as big as this, and I've never wanted to work on it because I'm like, ooh, what if I screw it up? Like, I guess I'll just leave it in my closet until I get better or whatever. Because it's like, I don't want to, like, ruin it and be like, oh, I spent all that money and it didn't come out very well. So I'm like, oh, I'll work on all this other stuff and I'll get around to that one day. And then this one, I was just like, I want to do it right away. I don't care. We'll get this done. So I'm happy it's coming out pretty well. Although, those ugly stickers, man, I don't like that. But all right. So this, nope, we're not. We got one more part still. The parts are huge and I still can't see them. But we're almost done with the decals, which I'm happy about. Because things should go faster after that. Now, let's refocus this. Get a little bit of color in here. Oops. One thing that streaming on here has taught me, mostly video games, but crafts and hobbies as well, is that no matter how much you know about something, there's always going to be like people that are like encyclopedic about stuff, and they come in and I'm just like, oh, I thought I knew a lot about this, but maybe I don't. Because I will have like I'll play a game and somebody will come in and they're just like telling me stuff that I hadn't even thought of or whatever, didn't know about, and I'm like, oh, I thought I was pretty good at that game. Or just the amount of knowledge that other people have on certain stuff is pretty interesting. Obviously, it's not so much when I'm building model kits, but I do get some interesting characters. I get, I don't know, people who like complain about stuff. I don't know. I'll use like a pair of nippers and they'd be like, you don't need those. You got suckered into buying those. You didn't need to buy those. I use this. I do that. And I'm just like, all right. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but calm down. Chill out. Right? Yeah, so backseat gaming, like I get, but like backseat crafting that was a new one to me. Somebody was like, I buy like 3 kits at a time and I cut all the parts out and I dump them into a box, and then it's like a challenge for me to figure out like what part goes to what, and I'm like, that's cool if you do that, But that sounds miserable. Like, I don't know. I'm not saying don't do that, but I'm just saying I'm not gonna do that. Yeah, I don't know. It was like, I don't know if it was like a I can tell what part goes to what better than you. I don't. Yeah, it's just like, just weird. I'm like, feel like a guy being like, I do a puzzle, but I do it with all the pieces upside down. I don't know what's on the pattern until I finish the puzzle. But what? How do you do a puzzle then? Like, whatever. Whatever. All right. This is getting heavy. Not like I can't pick it up heavy, but just like this is surprisingly heavy. So we've done this whole shoulder. We've got all this to do. So it's like we got to do everything that we did over here. We'll do it over here again. These stickers, they look kind of bad. Right? That's kind of what I was feeling. Like, because a lot of people will be like, oh, you played this game? I got all the platinums or whatever, and I get it. It almost felt like a measuring stick contest on something that's you're not supposed to have a measuring. It's like, oh, you have that same hobby? Well, I do it totally weird. I do it blindfold. Okay, cool. Good for you. All right. That is a significant amount of plastic. Now let's do it all over again. So we're going to get... The good thing is they're all the parts I grabbed last time. So we don't have to do nearly the same amount of hunting. Whoa. Crazy how fast the sun goes down, because like when I started this stream it was so bright, everything over here was washed out by the sun, and now I'm looking and I'm like, sun's going. All right, done with another runner. Another one. So I don't feel like I'm not working fast, but I thought, so I guess looking at the instructions and realizing like how many really large pieces there are, I thought in my head, wow, I'm going to move through this pretty fast because it's just slapping together a lot of really big parts. But I'm kind of surprised at, I don't want to say how slow, but like, they're all really big parts, but there's still a lot of like cleanup and a lot of detailing and stuff. So it's pretty good. Like I didn't want to like blow through this and just be done, but it's good that it'll take me a little while. I'd hate to pay this much money and be like, oh, I'm done in a day. All right, so I need W17, which is this part. Um, 13, 12, and 10. Altison. What's up, man? Thanks for stopping by. I just started, or I guess I should say restarted, Super Robot Wars Original Generation for the PS2. And I'm still blown away by like how good that version is compared to the Game Boy Advance port. So here's as far as we got so far, but this is still really, really big. All right, I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. So we're gonna clean up all the nubs. So having a 4-day break from work has been nice. I keep feeling like, oh, I gotta go to work tomorrow, and then I keep realizing, no, it's only Saturday. I got tomorrow off. I'm missing a part. What part is it? WI24. I will be right back in 1 second. All right. I realized with it being as dark as it is, I didn't leave any lights on in my condo, and my dog was running around barking, and I'm like, oh, she can't see anything. Let's go turn some lights on. Whoops. So one downside I'm noticing to this kit with as large as it is, the gate and the nub marks are very thick. Like the parts that I have to cut off are very thick, which always runs the risk of like stressing the part or damaging the part. So I'm trying to do my best to make cleanup easy. Thankfully they put the side gating on parts that at the end of the day, like they left one right here, but this is going to go right up to there and you won't see the seam rather than leaving an ugly seam right out in the open. So I do appreciate that they went out of their way to do that. Paid $150 for a kit, a gold-plated kit, and it's all side-gated, and it just looks ugly. I'm like, that much money for a kit that's gonna look like crap at the end of the day? Disappointing. Let's try and do this clean. Oh, not very clean, but we can clean that up. All right. What would you be doing? Gaming? Some more Zelda? I've found that a schedule is pretty helpful. I guess it all depends on... Oh, that's right. I guess it all depends on, like... I don't know. When I view Twitch, for me, it's mostly like, I don't have anything going on. Let's see what people are doing. I hop on and I see who's on. But there are a lot of people that like look for somebody's schedule and they'll be like, oh, I know that person's on, so like I'll stick around. And I guess my browsing habits are different from other people's. So I have noticed like a schedule does help. Because you will see a lot of return people, or they'll look ahead at your schedule and just be like, oh, they're on tomorrow night or something like that. I'm kind of the same way. Like, if my friends are streaming or like a Twitter mutual or something like that. But like I very rarely go to Twitch just to like browse, you know? Like I won't go online to just be like, "Hey, I like Zelda. Let's see who's playing Zelda." But I know a lot of people do because there's this one guy that will come into my chat anytime I'm playing this one game. He'll stop by, and it's almost like he's looking for whoever's playing that game on any given night. Like he'll just go on stream. Yeah, that's true. I think a lot of I don't know. I had moderate success setting up this stream. Mostly, like, I didn't... It's not an obscure game. It's just an old game. It was a game called Front Mission. It's a series. Oh gosh. So I just think it's like an old game, and it's like one of those you have to know about it. Nobody's like, it's not something on the front page or whatever. I don't know. Twitch seemed a lot cooler, and then like once I started using it a little bit more, I started eye rolling because I'm like, oh, I see what we're doing here. Like we're just catering to a lot of people and doing dumb stuff like hot tub streams and all this other stuff. Like, I don't know. I was kind of surprised because I have more viewers and like interaction and stuff when I do crafting type stuff than gaming. Because I think I guess it depends. I like to play what I like, and it's not necessarily the most popular stuff. Like Zelda is a huge franchise. So like I could understand somebody being like, I'm gonna see who's playing Zelda. But like a lot of stuff I play, it's either people that are like really into it and that's why they're looking for it, or because it's mostly retro stuff. I grew up really appreciating the older consoles. Yeah, that worked. I mean, it's kind of a double-edged sword in the sense that mainstream will get people like in like Zelda, you know, there's probably at any given time 20,000 people either watching a Zelda stream or doing something like that, which is cool. But then you're also facing the trouble of like, oh, I'm streamer number 3,522 playing the same game. So it's like, oh, now there's a lot of people watching it, but they're all split among so many different channels. Yeah. That's why I didn't think. So I guess to be an affiliate on here, you have to have like an average of 3 people. I thought it was 5 before, but maybe they changed it. It's 3 now. And you have to have like 50 followers. And when I was looking around social media, everybody was like, oh, no, that's. I wouldn't say that's crass. That's like realistic. Yeah, you could be like the number one streamer on Zelda if you just sit there in a bikini in a hot tub in your room and play, and you could not even know what you're doing. You can get stuck in the first room, but people will be like, hey, 400 people are watching. What a website. Or God, what was the stupidest shit I saw was that ASMR stuff, and it's not because it's ASMR. It's just girls doing ASMR, but they had like a microphone with like a silicone ear, and they're like licking the ear, and I'm like, who was watching this crap? And then they had like 1,700 people in their room, and I'm just like, what is wrong with all of you? I don't know. I don't get it. Watch some girl lick her microphone and be like, "Oh wow, yeah, it's creepy, weird dudes." And so one of my good friends, his sister, he used to stream for a while. His sister used to stream, and she has so many stories about just like being a female streamer and how like awkward and weird it is. I mean, you're a female streamer, you would probably know better than I would. But I mean, at least from the times I've hung out in your stream, it's been relatively calm, I guess. But like, guys on here are weird. Like, I don't know if it's like a social thing, like they don't have social skills, so they just Yeah, I mean, I don't think she did. I mean, I guess technically, you said you've been doing YouTube more often. I don't know how different the audience is, but I know like these guys would like she made like Twitch affiliate, and these guys would like tip her money, like over and over and over, and then like almost act like they were not significant other or whatever, but they're just kind of like go away. Like just because you tipped me doesn't mean yeah, like stuff like that, or like they had a wish list and he was like, "Oh, I bought you this game, so like, here's my phone number. You should text me." And they're like, "What?" Like, no. Why are you like this? You. Or then they get mad when like, I don't know. There's just all kinds of weird drama, and I'm like, what? I don't know. I couldn't do it. I'm glad I don't have to deal with that. All right, so we started with this to get some shading on the red. And then I see a lot of like, yeah, it's not worth it. Like it she got to the point where she unaffiliated herself because it was just guys would like tip and then think there were expectations to come along with it, and she's just like, I don't even want your money because I'm just doing this as a hobby. I don't want to turn it into like you having weird parasocial relationships or whatever. All right, let's get in there so we can see what we're doing. It doesn't. I'm shocked every time I look at the camera because it doesn't really look good. Like it looks so much better in just natural light. I think it's probably just the wash of the straight light going right down into it, but it's whatever. We'll get it nice and clean. Well, it's good. I don't need the extra pressure. I'm just judging myself. I look at it and I'm like, ew, I did that? Why did I let it look like that? And then I look at it in person and I'm like, oh, it doesn't look like that. All right. Just my own unrealistic expectations. Ten-year-old. Got all that. Let's hit a little bit extra here because we're going to clean it up. Oh, you didn't know there were 10 at the time? That could, yeah. Okay. I I guess just because of my situation, I have a friend who's got a 9-year-old, and he hangs out in all my because he thinks we're best friend. Not that we're not, but he's like, oh, we're best friends. So he hangs out in my streams sometimes and stuff, and doesn't. I mean, I don't care. He'll like use my real name and just message me, and he'll be like, "Hey, play this game with me later," and I'll be like, "All right, hang on." But I guess I just assumed it was something like that. But yeah, it would also be kind of weird to find out, like, found out somebody's 10 that's watching you. That'd be kind of weird. what did I do? See, now's the tough part. Is I gotta look at what I did for the other side just to make sure they match. Because it's like, oh, I did it on one side but didn't do it on another. I'm 10. Yeah, that would kind of throw me for a loop. I'd be like, I'm sorry, what? You're 10 what? Not 10 years old. You definitely mean something else. All right, that looks good. But we have to detail up the background first. Yeah, I knew a guy who knew a female streamer, and I don't know if they, I think they just like talked off stream on Twitter or whatever, or I don't even know if it was Twitter, one of the social media sites. And she mentioned, I don't know, I mean, I guess there's a certain amount that you present of yourself, like publicly or whatever. And she didn't mention, like on her streams, that she had a daughter. Just because, you know, that's real life, not something that necessarily needs to come up on stream. And like she mentioned it to this guy, and he was like, "You have a kid? Why didn't you tell me that?" And like took it all personally, and she's just like, "Dude, not to be rude, but like you're just a guy who comes to my stream. I don't owe you information about my life." He was like all offended and like stopped going to her streams. I'm just like, why are you acting like this? Like, just because you turned this into something in your head, I don't know. It's got to be a weird experience to be shoe size. Absolutely, I'll get all that information out. I will put it out on every platform I can. I'll get a webcam set up. Like, what was that, the old the Truman Show, where the dude like lived his whole life being secretly recorded and he didn't know it or something? I'll get all that information out there. Yeah, it was just so feet, probably. People will pay for all kinds of weird stuff. Yeah, like it was just something in his head. I don't. He just assumed that like, I don't know. The whole parasocial relationships that online streaming and stuff have allowed to develop makes some weird people come out of the woodwork. Yeah, like I'm sure at some level it's kind of like, ooh, do I want to get paid for something like that? Because it seems kind of weird. But on the flip side, it's like I think about it and I'm like, if you can get some weirdo to give you $200 for like a picture of your feet, like $200, like I don't know, right? Yeah, I I don't know. People are weird. People are weird. But yeah, just the audacity. You have a life you didn't tell me about? Sorry. How dare I? I think the only thing kind of weird about it is like how weird the feet people are. Like the fact that, like Extra said, there's a wiki feet. It's just feet. Like I get it. People will wear sandals to the store. Nobody's like, oh, I need to cover up my feet because it's too revealing or sexual or whatever. But the fact that like there's that many people that kind of turn it into that is kind of weird. But at the same time, it's like I'll wear sandals to the grocery store. Clearly, it's just feet. I don't care. If somebody's going to give me money for something I do anyway, well, whatever. But I'm a guy. I don't think there's an avenue out there for guys' feet. That seems like a little too depraved, even for like weird internet people. I don't know. I'm just as wrong. Oh, see, you couldn't even let me have that. I just wanted to. I just wanted to think that maybe even the depraved internet people weren't that bad. Ah, well, maybe we'll both make some extra money then, right? We'll all sign up together. Do you remember that, like, before social media, there was that, well, I don't know. I know I'm kind of dating myself by saying that. But, like, there was that website, Hot or Not, where, like, you just upload a picture and, like, strangers would vote somebody's, like, they'd give you a score, just random rating or whatever. And I remember maybe like 2003, a couple of my friends and I were just like goofing around and we're like, we should put pictures up there just to see what our rating would be. Anonymous internet strangers voting on you or whatever. Plenty of fish, dating profiles. I used to troll a bunch of stuff with a friend, but not anything maliciously. Like we just kind of make stupid profiles and send people goofy messages and stuff. But so me and two friends, like we had like goofy webcam pictures. This is before like cell phone. Oh, sorry, cell phone cameras. We took just like dumb pictures with webcams and we put them up on this like Hot or Not website, and we kind of forgot about them. And like a few days later, we checked the profile, and it was like, I'm like, this isn't right. Like, our ratings were, like, there were three of us. It was somewhat between like 9.2 and like 9.8 out of 10. And I'm like, look, I'm not trying to be self-deprecating, but I'm not like a 9.6 out of 10. Like, what? What is with this website? So at first I'm like, all right, it's all just like goofy and like not like, clearly it's all a lie. I didn't understand it. And I found an article on the page that said, despite the fact that we have a 1 to 10 rating, some people will only use 1 to 5. So what we do is if you get like a 5 rating, we just automatically assume they mean 10, and we just extrapolate it out to like a 10. And I'm like, how is this? How can you trust anything on here? Because what if somebody looks at you and goes, oh, they're completely average, I'll give them a 5. Then the website's like 10.0. And I'm like, what are you doing? Get out of here. So I just thought of that when you said your WikiFeet score. And I was like, well, can you trust it? Well, some people may be using 5. Some people... Right. I'm a 9.7. Like, no, you're not. Most people probably gave you like a 4.8 and the website's lying to you. Like, I don't know. That was a weird era of the internet. All right, so that did not come out very well. I don't like, but go figure. It's color correction stickers. The worst part of any model kit ever. Period. A MySpace. Okay. I. So this is complete anecdotal evidence, but I don't necessarily think I'm wrong. In high school, we didn't have cell phones. So I finished. Nobody had a cell phone. You had friends. You talked to your friends on like AOL or whatever internet programs we all used back then. And like I kept in MSN. I had MSN at I had AOL. Actually, I used Prodigy, and then it shut down because of Y2K. But then I went to AOL and I had MSN, and like we just chatted with each other through that, and it was whatever. And I had like a small circle of friends. I had like my half dozen friends that I was really good friends with. And then like there were like other people that in my school that like I knew them, but I wasn't friends with them. So I never understood the urge to like pretend I was friends with the people that I didn't keep in touch with, I guess. So like when MySpace came out, I was like, "Oh, what is it?" And it was like you can go on there and you can be friends with all your friends from high school. And I'm like, "But all the friends from high school that I care to talk to, I still talk to. Why do I need to use this website? I could, I had a phone by then, obviously. I was like, I could text them, I can call them, I can talk to them anywhere. But like, why? Because it was before it was very obvious that it was just like a social ranking thing. I was just like, I wasn't friends with them before. Why would I want to be friends with them now? So I just never did. And then Facebook kind of went away, and MySpace came. Or no, the other way around. MySpace went away. Facebook came out, and I was like, yeah, it's just another thing that I don't need to use. So like, I never felt the need to sign up to any of these social media platforms because the friends that I cared to talk to still or share information with, I did. And fast forward, I don't know, decade and a half of social media, and like everybody I know who's on Facebook or on any of these websites is all dealing with like anxiety issues and depression, and they're on all this medication. And I'm like, it's anecdotal to me, but I can't help but think me not giving a shit about any of this has led to me not being a depressed, anxiety-ridden mess like everybody else who's on there. Yeah, I remember when it first came out, that's how it was, but it was just like it all this stuff really just became like a measuring stick between like what I'm doing and what everyone else is doing. And it was like, oh, all my friends are doing something cool this summer and I'm just sitting home or whatever, And then the nebulous phrase, the algorithm, it's just like showing you stuff, and it's showing you what everybody else is doing, and it's just you comparing what they're doing and you're not. And I'm like, to me, I was like, why would I want to, like, I don't care. I didn't care what they did in high school. I don't care what they're doing now. But I could easily see people who got tied up in that stuff, why it would, affect them, especially younger kids that like grew up with it. Like, yeah, I think so. Yeah. I don't know. I've seen people that are like not addicted to it, but like their ideal life is like they see so many people that are like influencers, and they don't realize like their life is shit around their fake internet profile, and they're just like, oh, that's what I want to do. How come Yeah, you know they put a picture out there and they get 5,000 strangers give it a thumbs up and they're like, "Wow, I'm validated. I get the dopamine that like people like me." And I'm like, "Not really. You're kind of a vapid person around this identity you've made." So one of my friends has a friend who is one of these like I want to be like an Instagram influencer. Every one of her pictures is like her on a yacht, her driving a Mercedes, her in a bikini, her out at a pool, her doing this and out at a club and like doing. And if you saw her person, like if you saw her Instagram, you'd think she's some like Miami Beach like millionaire like wife or girlfriend of an athlete with all this. And then like knowing her life outside of that, I'm like, the Mercedes that she took her picture in has been broken down in like a parking garage because it's like 6 years old and it doesn't work. And she's like at this club and like the guy who invited her there got arrested and then beat her up and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, your life is garbage and you're presenting it as like, you know, you're somebody to be envied and people don't know like it's just and I can only imagine like seeing her case like I can only imagine almost all of them are like that. Like I mean I know it's like oh fake profile but like everything about her life is just a tragic disaster, but the pictures on the Instagram make it look like she's made it rich. I'm just like what a weird, I don't know. I see stuff like that and I'm like I'm glad I avoided it. Like I don't feel like I missed anything by not partaking in any of that. I did make a Facebook for a while just to troll because my friend and I had a lot of fun just not like malicious trolling but just like being like leaving really confusing comments on people's profiles and stuff and just I don't know. It was fun for a while, but even having it installed with like a fake profile, it's still like it's not really me, it's not really my pictures, but it's on my phone. So Google or Facebook is just like stealing everything that I'm doing, all the locations I visit, and I'm kind of like so I'm feeding it the same information and I'm just not even using it. So who's the real dummy here? Like, so I got rid of it. I don't know. I have my Twitter, which I still contemplate getting rid of daily because it just goes to hell a little bit more every day. Who is blowing up my phone? All right. All right, we're making some progress here. And we got half an hour left. All right, so let's get this on the back. We're not going to pinch our fingers because we remember the instructions tell us don't hurt yourself, idiots. Please do not hurt yourself on the account of this model. Any other reason, go for it. Just not us. All right, come on. I had the same problem with the other side. Half of it went in, And I need to like get it all in at the same time. There we go. I don't think so. You would think if the instructions included a... Maybe that's their catch-all. They're like, we're not going to include the Band-Aids because we told you not to pinch yourself. So if you did, then you didn't follow instructions and it's not on us. That's probably their legal loophole. Come on. I got one side, now I can't get the other one in. Alright. We're pulling it off. We're starting over. Start from scratch. Alright. So the tough part is there's holes here, 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 and here. And it's curved. So I get this tab in this hole and it fits good, but it's like you need to get all four started and then press firmly. If I get like half of it, then this one doesn't line up. And if I start with this one, then that one doesn't line up. So I need to like... I'm going to try and like see if I can start all four of them. That one's in. That one's in. That one clicked in. So if I can get this one... Alright, I'm going to have to do this off camera just so I can focus. Oh, I think I got it. The click is a good sign. Click means it all clicked right in. Now we got to do this again with all of our stickers. Ugh. The worst part of any kit is all the stickers. I gotta move this out of the way for now. Alright, so we need black. Gonna get this lip. Oh gosh, look at that. Gotta sand that off. How does that? Oh, that's right there. Not great. Not great. We'll clean it up. Back to the decal. I'm going to try them in a different order because they kind of layered crummily. Crummily? Is that a word? Crummily. I don't think that's a word. So I'm going to before I started up and worked my way down, if I start down and work up, each one seems to kind of overlap the last one, and hopefully we'll get a better result. Word enough. Bird is the word enough. All right. I do remember I had to lock this down, so we're going to do that again. Oh, I hear the dog. She's made an appearance. All right. Let's see if I can get... Looking good. We're looking good. All right. Now we can iron it out, get rid of all the gaps. Make sure it sticks, unlike those water slides that were peeling off earlier. All right, good. Hang on a sec. Yeah, there's lots of plastic, huh? Here. You want a treat? There. That should entertain you for a little while. She gets bored, so she comes to see me. All right, K. So if this were a master grade, these would be red parts that I'd be popping in here. But if this were a master grade, this thing would probably need a forklift to pick it up, because it would be so heavy. So if the worst part is a couple of red stickers that most people aren't going to notice, I'll get over it. How do I keep spinning this so much? Perfect placement, and then it didn't come off my finger when I lifted it. Got it. All right. Now we where'd it go? We slowly work our way down. Line it up. Nope. You're out of line. You're out of line. There we go. There we go. Smooth it all down. No air bubbles. And one final sticker. I would have paid $20 more if all these parts were parts instead of stickers, but you know what? I don't care. Alright, now that is on there. Now we gotta fold the corners down and then iron them out. There we go. Still looks clumsy, but I've realized it's not that it's clumsy, it's just like this doesn't look good, but the sticker just goes from there to there and like it ends, and this is a little bit like water falls down. At first glance it looks like I wrinkled the sticker. That's what gets me upset, but it's really not. It's like a waterfall tiered type approach. Yeah, I have so many parts where I'm like, I want to paint this rather than use a sticker, but I don't have the tools. But the good thing is these are all like on the front, not that much work to like rip it all out. If I do decide I'm gonna get some paint and go over it. So I do have the option to paint it. It's just I'm gonna get paint that won't match, and then it'll bother me that like this red doesn't match that red. But so I think I'm gonna leave it well enough alone. It's one of those things that drives yourself nuts, but nobody else will notice. And then when somebody does, you'd be like, yeah, well, where's your kit? You do it better. Alright, so now we gotta snap this on and protect our fingers. Actually, let me do these first. These, that one in. That one in. That one. Now I can put the cover on. It's not snapping down. Why is it not snapping down? See, this one closed up nice. This one has a big, oop, this one has a big gap. Gotta close that gap up. There it goes. Now more of these yellow stickers. Yellow and black, I guess. Oops. All right. One more. Although there's technically 3 more stickers, so there's probably 2 more parts somewhere else. We just haven't got to them yet. Bam. So what we built, these are the shoulders. This is like the center T that supports it. Eventually, this little guy, well, these come off. Oops, that broke in half. These come off. And that one broke in half. Come on. We don't need those anyway. But this guy kind of fits in a pocket. That's like right here. And like these are his shoulders for like the armor. He's in like a little cover-up pocket and he rides. It's his chariot. But for now, he's just supervised. Oh my gosh, everything's falling apart on this kit. We're just going to move you over there. Out of the danger zone. So next, what do we got? Oh, 6 o'clock. What am I listening to? I can hear people yelling. Wow, okay. Drama. All right, so S. S and Y. Do we have an X? Oh, there's another one. Do not be careful not to get your fingers caught. So I'm going to finish up this next step just because it'll finish off a page. And that way we can say we've completed 1, 2, 3 pages. We need S, Y, and X. Here's Y. S. What? X1. Oh, X3. So they're gray. I'm going to look for those. And we need S. What color is S? Gray. All right. Let's hunt. What was it? S, Y, S, and X. there's one. We need the other one of these. There it is. Of course, it's on the bottom, right? All right, there's everything we need. For now. We'll need a lot more later. So we need this part. And we need this part. Wait a minute. S4? Are those both 4? 4, 5, 5, 4. Okay. And well, I like their decision for this because of the plastic they used. The plastic is ABS plastic, which is the stuff they make inner frames out of, which is much stronger. One thing I was mildly concerned with is the plastic, because if they did not use very strong plastic, I didn't think this thing would be able to stand up under its own weight. So thankfully the plastic they used is very strong, and that shouldn't be a problem. It's more to do with less the strength of the plastic, I guess, and more how much friction it creates with other types. Some of the plastic is like very slippery, and if you have parts made out of the slippery plastic, they don't have friction. So like if you have arms, like an elbow joint, but the plastic doesn't really have good grip, you can't have your arm out. It's going to constantly be like at the shoulder joint dropping down because it's slippery. This plastic is very grippy, so it should have a very strong hold, so you can get this into a pose that you want, and it should stay that way. That's mostly why I hate polycaps, because no matter how you use a polycap, even if it's a nice fit, they're extremely soft, more rubber than plastic, and rubber breaks down over time, and the polycaps break down and they become soft, and when you get a nice pose or you do something cool, then you look at it after a month and like the arm has like drooped down to the floor, and it's just like, nope, sorry. That's always kind of disappointing. There's ways you can tighten them up, but like, why tighten them up if you can avoid it altogether? At least that's how I feel. Use better plastic. Damn it. I paid a lot of money. Now these appear to be the upper arm joints, because the shoulders The shoulder joint is in there, so I guess this is like a combination of the upper arm, like bicep joint and shoulder, like rotator cuff, I guess you'd say, like this whole assembly here, because the arm will attach into this. So we take one of these. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. We slide. Don't like seeing nub marks that I think. Oh, see, this is good because it's really. Oh, yeah, that's a good connection. Holy cow. Go. Close up. Damn it. Do it. Come on. I caught a part in a groove that it shouldn't have been in a groove, and it won't come out now. Stupid. Stupid as hell. Alright, what if I put it in here and twist? Will that pop it? Nope. You're going to make me take this. Alright. I'll work on this one for now. So, what I did by accident. So, this ring. Hey, damn it. This ring goes on this peg. You slide it on like this. What I did on the other one is you can see these grooves. I accidentally had this groove right here lined up with this piece when I pushed it down, because you can see it's caught on the groove in there. And I can't rotate it up because the plastic is bent and it's not letting me. So I have to take it apart just to take it out. So stupid. But you can avoid that by, having it any other direction other than straight down. So we can close this up just fine. There we go. But yeah, so that groove has that stuck in it on this part. It's just a freak occurrence. Now I gotta take it apart. Whatever. It's coming slowly. See, I just said it's good that the plastic doesn't slide around. There we go. See? Damn thing is caught right in there. Why did I do that? Probably because it let me do it. It's not my fault. It let me do it. It's your fault. I'm the real victim here. All right, come on. I don't know how I'm going to get this loose. I'm going to have to, shimmy it back and forth. Stupid. If I rotate it, it'll pop right out. There we go. But I didn't want to break the plastic. So I got it loose enough that it popped out. All right, crisis averted. So now these go in here. And then these go on these shoulder joints. So they go in here. And then we run them all the way down so they're nice and snug. And that's the stub where the arm will attach to. So it has, this is the shoulder joint that allows it to rotate like this, and then rotate like this, and then the arm to rotate like this. So it's pretty intricate, even though they're gigantic plugs. But they need to be to support the ridiculous weight of this thing. And it's good that I have to fight it so much to get it on there, because that means it's not going to fall apart once it's on. Go. All right. That is on. There we go. All right. Doesn't look like much. It's not that. How many parts did we put on today? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 41 parts. That's not very much. 3 hours to put 41 parts together. But I'm happy with it. Some good progress we made. And this mountain of parts next to me didn't look like I made a dent in it. I mean, this is huge. It kind of does. But, like, look at the size of this one part. It covers up the whole thing. Like, these parts are huge. Everything we did fits underneath this one part. I don't even know. We'll get in there. So these, I don't even want to try and put them together. I'm just going to put them here for now. Now I just got to be careful because something's going to like slide at night. One of these parts will slide and this whole thing will fall on the floor at like 3 in the morning when I'm asleep. And I'll be like, who's in my house? And it'll just be plastic falling off my table. All right. Well, this has been fun. Let's see. We made a thing. I don't know. Does it look good? It's about as wide as my shoulders are. I don't even know what I think the upwards. These things eventually will attach on to here. So those are like the spiky shoulder bits. I'm surprised that I thought this would be more hollow than it actually is, because it's all filled in under here. Like, I thought this would just be empty, and it probably weighs about 3 pounds. This is heavy. But we're getting there. Oops. So what am I going to be on next? Tuesday. We're doing back to Tuesday, Wednesday, rather than the Tuesday, Thursday. But it's been working out. It's just a couple weekdays. Although it does feel like, oh man, I got to take 2 days off, because when I start working on stuff, you get like the itch, and I'm like, I want to keep working on this. Like, but then I'm like, oh, wait, I gotta wait till stream. I can't just be working on this in the off time. But I thought that I would be able to work on like 2 at the same time, like put this away and then work on another one, but that ain't happening. So it's keeping me working on this, which I kind of like. I want to get this one done, which is going to cause me to redo my whole shelf because I don't know where I'm going to put stuff once I finish. But that's a problem for another day, I guess. So for now, I'm going to go. Is she on? Can we see her? There's no. Oh, you're under here. Hey, you want to say hi? Come here. Oh. Here's the dog. Hey. Say hello to the people. I know you blend into my shirt. You can't see. This is the dog that had all the surgery that is now doing fine. Oh, hello. Yes. Hi. Oh, all right. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, you're snorting. You sound like a pig. Yeah, all right. I am gonna go probably wrap up this stream. I'm gonna go take her out. I know you hate it. You hate it. You're so neglected. But yeah, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching, chatting, keeping me entertained while I fought with parts that I put together and then was twice as hard to take apart. I guess they're only designed to go together. They don't design these to come apart. But yeah, I will be back Tuesday, 5:30 Eastern, and we'll continue from here. I'm gonna. Yes, hi. Yes, I know. Do you want to go out? Yes, you do. Here. Yeah, we'll continue from there. 5:30. Hope to catch you guys then. Thanks for hanging out, and hope you guys have a good night and a good rest of your weekend. Take care.